My blood turned to ice as my boyfriend's father sneered street garbage in a borrowed dress across the silent dining table. The billionaire's cruel eyes locked with mine, savoring my public humiliation. 23 elite guests held their breath, witnessing my destruction. I rose slowly, heart pounding, a smile forming on my lips. Empires all with a whisper. My boyfriend John begged me to attend his father's annual investors' dinner. Richard Castellano owned half the city. Old money, private jets, zero warmth. We'd been together 2 years. He'd refused to meet me until tonight. I spent my last $400 on a dress, rehearsed small talk, practiced my handshake. When I walked in, Richard looked me over like dirt on his Italian leather shoes. Dinner started fine. Polite questions about my background. I told them I worked in consulting, kept it vague. Richard's eyes narrowed, but he said nothing. Then the main course arrived. "So tell me," Richard said, loud enough for the entire table to hear, "how exactly does a girl from the foster system afford a dress like that?" The table went silent. John froze beside me. "Excuse me?" I managed. Richard smiled, the kind of smile that told me he'd been waiting all night for this. "Oh, I did my research, sweetheart. Group homes until 17. Aged out with nothing. Worked as a waitress for years." He sipped his wine. "I'm just curious who's funding your little Cinderella act tonight." My face burned. 23 guests stared at me with a mixture of pity and curiosity. "Father, that's enough," John said weakly. But Richard wasn't done. "My son thinks he loves you, but I know exactly what you are. Street garbage in a borrowed dress, pretending you belong at tables like this." He gestured around the room. I felt every eye on me, waiting for me to cry, to run, to prove him right. Instead, I carefully set down my napkin. "You're right, Mr. Castellano. I did grow up in foster care. I did age out with nothing. I did waitress for years." I stood slowly. "But you missed a few details in your research." Richard's smile flickered. "While I was waitressing, I was also taking night classes, got my degree in 4 years, started a small consulting firm from my studio apartment." I smoothed my dress. "That firm landed a government contract 3 years ago. Cybersecurity. Very boring stuff." The guests exchanged confused glances. "Last year we were acquired. The terms were confidential, but I'll share one detail." I paused. "The acquisition was for $640 million. I owned 73% of the company." Richard's face went pale. "So this dress? I bought it this afternoon. Cash? The borrowed part?" I pulled out my phone. "That was a joke I made to John because I borrowed his driver to go shopping." Dead silence. "But here's what's really interesting, Richard." I scrolled through my phone. 3 months ago, my financial advisors brought me an interesting opportunity. A real estate company overextended on commercial properties, hemorrhaging money, desperate for a cash injection. Richard's hand trembled around his wine glass. I passed on it. Seemed like a bad investment. But last week they came back. The company's situation had gotten worse, much worse. I looked up from my phone. The owner was about to lose controlling interest to his creditors. "You're lying," Richard whispered. "Am I?" I turned my phone around, showed him the screen. "I bought your debt this morning, Richard. All of it. Every single note your banks were about to call in." The room erupted in murmurs. Guests pulled out their own phones. Within seconds, I watched the color drain from several faces as they confirmed what I'd said. "You owe me $218 million, I continued. "Due in 30 days, which we both know you don't have. Not liquid. Not without selling everything." Richard stood abruptly. His chair crashed backward. "This is ridiculous. John, we're leaving. Now." But John didn't move. He stared at me like he was seeing me for the first time. "I wasn't going to do anything with the debt," I said quietly. "I was going to forgive it. A gift for the family I hope to marry into." Richard's eyes widened. "Then you called me garbage. In front of your friends, your colleagues, your family." I picked up my clutch. "So now I have a different plan. What do you want?" Richard's voice cracked. I walked toward the door, then stopped, turned back to face the man who thought he could destroy me with words. "I want you to understand something, Richard. I didn't survive 18 years of foster homes, group homes, and aging out alone to be intimidated by a man whose entire empire exists because his grandfather got lucky in the 50s. I opened the door. "Your creditors will receive instructions Monday morning. Enjoy the rest of your dinner." I walked out into the cool night air. Behind me, I heard Richard Castellano begging someone to call his lawyers. John caught up to me at my car. "Zara, I had no idea about any of it." I looked at the man I'd loved for 2 years, the man who'd sat silently while his father tried to destroy me. "I know," I said. "That's the problem." I drove away alone. My phone buzzed with 17 missed calls before I reached the highway.